Perfect. While we are waiting, just so you can have some fun with a visual activity, try it out. And also so I can get some background knowledge in case anybody has already previously used Lucid. Here is a quick link in the chat. Go ahead and click on that and then click on start and drag the little guy to your current knowledge of Lucid. Are you 1, a beginner, or 10, a pro? Okay, perfect. We've got 3 responses. Let's see where we're all at. All right, we've got 2 level 9s. Awesome. So Tara, you're going to have to help me out today if I don't know anything, which is perfect. And then we have brand new. So we'll make sure that we cover all of the different things so that you can go from 0 to hopefully a pro. Maybe not by the end of today's session, but after you start playing with it a little bit, then everybody will be good to go. So thank you for completing this. If we don't have time to talk about visual activities or I forget, make sure to let me know. They're allow you to kind of have drag and drop activities that will collect data for you. So great for polls, matrices, different things like that. So thank you for playing along with me. And now, since we're already a couple minutes in, let's go ahead and start talking about Lucid. So just some background. My name is Vanessa Cicero. I have been in education for many, many years. I've taught and been a coach in both K-12 and higher ed institutions. And now I've been with Lucid for almost 4 years, helping instructors utilize Lucid to enhance their instruction and student learning. So thank you for coming today. Feel free to, I have the chat up, so feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Just come off mute, add it in the chat, whatever works best for you. And we're going to start with a little bit of what is Lucid, since a lot of you are brand new. So we can go over just in general, what in the world is this new thing in Canvas? And then we're going to jump into Canvas and talk about using it specifically through the lens of Canvas. So to start off, now inside of Canvas, all students and instructors get access to Lucid for free, so everybody can use it instructionally. You get 2 tools. One is Lucid Spark. Lucid Spark is our digital whiteboarding tool, which is very similar if you ever use Jamboard or kind of Zoom's whiteboard. It's a whiteboard at heart, but with a lot more features for teacher facilitation and engagement. And Lucid Chart has a more advanced tool set for interactive diagramming and graphic organizers to scaffold that learning process. So you think I'm going to kickstart it in Lucid with some brainstorming, some sticky notes, and then we're going to dive deeper and build out more intricate diagrams and graphics inside of Lucid Chart. And then again, you know you're in Lucid Spark if you have the red star. Red star equals a spark. And the orange triangles in Lucid Chart, that tells you you're inside of Lucid Chart. So let's go ahead and watch just a very quick video. This mentions some things I usually forget. So we're going to just watch and see Lucid Spark in action for about a minute, and then we'll jump into more instructional activities.
Lucid Spark is the virtual whiteboard you need to bring your best ideas to life. It's simple, visual, and easy to master. Plus, it's loaded with features to help you turn promising ideas into an amazing reality. Lucid Spark is built for collaboration, so getting your team together is incredibly easy. Share an agenda to get everyone on the same page, and then get to work. You can tag each other in comments, add some pretty awesome emoji reactions, and follow others to see where they are on the board and what they're referencing. If you want a bit more structure, add a timer to keep everyone focused and on track. You can also create voting sessions to quickly poll the group and spotlight the best ideas. Take all your random thoughts and make sense of them with assisted grouping. Use different criteria to organize your ideas into actionable next steps. And if you're not sure where to begin, drop in one of our templates to jumpstart your experience. And that's just a quick primer on how to get started. Get your team together in Lucid Spark, where ideas ignite.
So just to kind of go over instructionally, when you're thinking about using Lucid Spark, you're thinking about collaborative brainstorming sessions, either small group or whole group, kickstarting lectures or discussions in class using response prompt boards or question parking lots during a lecture. Anytime you want to facilitate group work, where you want to maybe start in one place, but then have students go into separate whiteboards connected to the main space, you can utilize the breakout boards inside of Lucid Spark. And then one big tool that Lucid Spark has that Lucid Chart doesn't is the pen tool. So if you ever want to write on the canvas or drag a PDF onto the canvas to annotate it, you want to be in Lucid Spark, since right here on the left-hand side, students, instructors can access a pen and a highlight tool right here from the toolbar. And then, of course, it's really great for some icebreakers. We'll play around with some icebreakers today. Those are really great. I usually recommend that as a good intro. You do Lucid Spark as an icebreaker for a quick 5 minutes one day. So then they're ready to jump in and really dive into the content the next time you bring it up. So that is just some ideas on the use case of when you use Lucid Spark. Any questions related to when or why I might choose Lucid Spark? Okay, perfect. So now we're going to take a quick look at Lucid Chart, and already from the preview of the video, you can already see that there's more shape options and a more advanced formatting toolbar. So coming back to that, Lucid Spark is great for that initial brainstorming. It's a little lighter, and then we're getting into it in more intricate ways inside of Lucid Chart. So let's go ahead and take a look at Lucid Chart.
Lucid Chart. Help things make sense by making connections. Take a walk down memory lane with timelines. Or use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast. Visualize a complex idea or system. Even math gurus can geek out over these visualizations. Students can complete tasks individually, or the whole class can join in with real-time collaboration. Anytime you want to map an idea or visualize a flow, open a new Lucid Chart. The possibilities are literally endless. Lucid Chart, where ideas connect.
So just to kind of reiterate some of those instructional ways you'll use Lucid Chart. So anytime you're trying to make a concept map or a thinking map, graphic organizers, we have a ton of them. You can customize them and push them out through Canvas, timelines, process maps, procedure maps, technical diagramming. Those would all happen best inside of Lucid Chart. Now, you noticed I pointed out the pen tool in Lucid Spark. One thing that sets Lucid Chart aside are our shape libraries. So in the upper left-hand corner, this is also a quick trick. You can always switch between Lucid Spark by clicking on the red star, and then you can transition in the same document. I can click on Lucid Chart, and now it's bringing up Lucid Charts toolset. So I'm not making a second copy of this document. You can just pull up whichever toolset you need whenever you need it. So now you'll automatically see way more shapes on the left-hand side, a more advanced toolbar across the top. And then down here, you'll see the more shapes. So this is one of those big things that sets Lucid Chart up. Apart from Lucid Spark, when you click on more shapes, this will bring up a ton of technical diagramming shapes that you can add to your canvas. So this is really great for computer science, for circuit diagramming, engineering, HR, org charts. We have some intro floor plan shapes for architecture. So if you work in a more technical field with students, you can look through and just kind of scroll through each of these, click on any of the ones that you might be interested in. And then if you find one, you can click on it and then hit use selected shapes. And now it adds those shapes to your library on the left-hand side. So now you can just drag these out and you can start making your more technical diagramming. So like Lucid Spark has the pen tool, Lucid Chart has a lot more shapes that you have access to for your diagramming. Now, also inside of Lucid Chart, another fan favorite for anybody who might be working on process mapping, procedure mapping, flow charting. Lucid Chart also has swim lanes that you can drag out onto the canvas, where Lucid Spark does not have an easily accessible, shape to just drag out swim lanes. So again, when you're thinking about your diagramming needs, that's when you want to be inside of Lucid Chart. So before we hop into Canvas and kind of get into the more, how do I start using these inside of Canvas and outside of Canvas, any questions between why and when I might use Lucid Spark versus Lucid Chart? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So now we're going to hop into Canvas and just kind of take a look at different ways that we can utilize Lucid specifically in Canvas. Now, the first thing is, inside of any Canvas course, and then stop me if your institution has it set up differently, but from within any course, you should have access to a Lucid whiteboard icon on the left-hand side of your navigation. It might be hiding at the bottom since it's relatively new. So if you scroll down, you should hopefully find it hiding at the bottom if you don't see it in the top section of your navigation. Now, this is where I recommend going for professors and for students. The first time you want to log in and get access to Lucid, this will jumpstart the activation process for your license and their license, so you get full access. So a lot of times before I use it in class, I will push out an announcement to all students saying, hey, we're going to be using Lucid this semester or next lesson. Click on the Lucid whiteboard icon from the navigation, follow the prompts to activate your license, and that way you'll be ready for class next week or this semester. Then moving forward, anytime you click on the Lucid whiteboard button from navigation, you or students, you will automatically be redirected to this page. And this is basically a bookmark to get to your Lucid dashboard. So right here, you'll see it says Open Lucid. It has some helpful, videos and guides down here that you can look through. But essentially, you'll use the Open Lucid button. And now in a new tab, this is going to open up your Lucid dashboard. So this will do the same thing for students. And this is your dashboard. It's not a dashboard for class resources. This is just where all of my documents will be housed. If a student comes in, it'll be where all their documents are housed. So it's just like any dashboard you're used to, like Google Drive, OneDrive. This is where all of my things will be stored and where I can create new things and search templates. So inside of here, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner, this is where you can go to create new Lucid Chart documents, new Lucid Spark documents, organize your items using folders. And then if you come down to the bottom section, you'll notice that there is a templates section. And if you click on templates, this will give you all of the templates that you have access to for the corporate templates. So anybody who might be using more technical diagramming and process mapping, you would use these up at the top. For example, you can click on process and you have a ton of different templates you can search through, open up and start using. If you're in computer science with more technical diagramming, you can come into here. And then you'll notice you also have brainstorming templates, planning templates, lots of things being used in the corporate space. The education section, this is where you'll go for those more pedagogical resources to help support student learning and kind of scaffold learning. I always tell my higher ed crew, don't be scared of K-12. This has a lot of great easy templates that are also good for kindergartners all the way up to adult learners. So feel free to look through any of these. If you find one that you like, so for example, maybe we're just making a quick concept map. You can open up this mind map by clicking on use. Now, this is making your own copy of the template that you can customize, mess with, and then send it out for students to complete. So let's say I am doing a concept map on, let's say I'm doing it in nursing and the students are researching heart disease. So I might say heart disease right here, and then I might give them some of the examples. So here I want symptoms, I want treatments, etc. So you can customize things. I might not need this branch. So maybe I'll highlight all of these and delete all of these different items. So everything you see in the template, you can change, you can move, you can do whatever you would like. Now, once you're done with your template, and before we go there, one thing I'm going to point out related to Lucid chart, you'll see you have your shapes on the left-hand side. The moral of the story with Lucid chart is you can drag shapes over, you can copy and make additional shapes here, but wherever you see these blue dots, this helps you quickly make concept maps, flow charts. So it'll give you a preview. You can click on it to accept it. You can click on the blue dot again. It'll give you another preview. If you like it, you can click on it. And then if you don't like the preview, you can click and drag out, and then you can add your own shape. And then you can move that shape around and make it fit how you would like if you don't like it. So when you're using Lucid chart, think shapes on the left, blue dots for easy line connections, and that's really the basics and helps you really get started with your process mapping. So I don't need this here though, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So now we're going to say this is my heart disease mind map. And from here, now I want to push this out to students, so each student gets their own copy to complete. One thing I might do before I send this out, maybe I have a video I want students to read, maybe I have a PDF article I want students to read, and I want to include that in my template. If you have a YouTube video, I'm just going to grab a random YouTube video from our channel. If you copy the URL, all you need to do on your template is just click here and just paste it, and it will embed so students can then view that video right on the template. That works. Usually I say, when in doubt, try the link, because I know it works in Vimeo, I know it works in YouTube. So just I don't know all of the ones it works and doesn't work in, but when in doubt, try it out. And then, like I said, they can just click, like you saw in the presentation, they can click on it and play it. Then if you want to add a PDF to the document, you can easily just drag PDFs onto the canvas. Let's say you want to give them an image per se, maybe an image of a diagram or something from something else, just drag it onto the canvas, and you can add all of those different elements so that you're giving them some resources for them to use. And these are my dogs, Griff and Bruce. There was a handy dandy picture that I had on my desktop. And then this also works with websites. So let's say maybe we have heart disease and you have a website, maybe a scholarly article that's on a website. You can click on it. And then this is not obviously a great one, but we're just going to go with it. Same thing with the video. You can highlight the URL, copy it, and then you can paste it onto your canvas as well. This isn't quite as cool as the video. This will just give them a little preview of it, and then they do have to click on it, and it will open it up in a new tab. So not as cool, but still a good way to have all of the resources in one place for the students. So now that my template, yes, Tara, question.
Yes. So thinking about the accessibility of images, is there a way to add alt text onto your images within here?
Yes, of course. So all you have to do on your images is right click, and then there's an add alt text option. If the actual, like these boxes and stuff should work with your with your screen reader without it, because the text is actually like in the document. But for your images, you would want to do the alt text.
Wonderful. And then the videos that we can embed on the page here, if they have captions within the video, those captions will also show up in this small
Yes,
video.
it should. If the captions are turned on in the video, this is essentially just putting the video on the page. So however the video works, it will come with it. And so they'll see this. You can go full screen. If you wanted to go outside, you could go into YouTube. You have your closed captions here. So it should act just the same way it would in YouTube.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions? Those are good ones. Okay, perfect. So now I have my concept map. I have my template ready to go. So now I want each student to get their own copy in order to complete this activity. So now I'm going to go into Canvas and I'm going to go into the assignments section within Canvas. Or modules, of course. Better workflow would be modules, and you're having a beautiful organized course. This is not a real course, so I'm just going to go ahead and open a new assignment. Name my assignment. And then in the rich content editor, this is where you could add additional instructions, additional resources, whatever you want them to know that isn't already on the template. And then you're going to come down to submission type. And you should notice, if you haven't already, Lucid is listed now as a submission type. So you will want to select Lucid. It'll give you this handy dandy button now that'll link you to your dashboard to pick your template. So I'm going to click on Lucid. And now it's opening up my dashboard. At this point, you do need to know, was my template Lucid Chart or was my template Lucid Spark? So noticing up here, I had the orange triangles. I had a more advanced tool set. So I'm going to click on Lucid Chart. Now you could embed a blank document and then it'll just have a blank Lucid Chart document on their Canvas page. And then you just need to make sure your rich content editor instructions are really good. And then they would start from scratch. But we have a template, so I'm going to click on My Documents. And now you have access to all the documents you created in Lucid. So you can either go into a folder or, because I haven't organized mine, right here at the top, most recent is my heart disease mind map. I will select it. And now it's going to attach to the assignment so each student gets their own copy. So I'm going to save and publish this and then pull over my student version. And then I'm just going to go into assignment. So now this is a student in the course, so you can see what it'll look like for students. They'll navigate to the assignment. And then it will actually open up embedded on the Canvas page for the student. So right here on the Canvas page, I can scroll down. My internet has been very slow today, so we'll all cross our fingers. The internet wants me to be done for the week. So once this opens up, I can start editing this right on the Canvas page. So I can come in here and I can say pacemaker and maybe include additional details. I could drag out potentially a picture of a pacemaker to make it even more exciting. Well, I don't know if this is a pacemaker, but didn't like that one. Let's do this one. Resize it. So what I love about this is you don't only have to use text. You can include images. They can attach articles. They can do all of these things and still connect it into their items. So now I'll click the blue dot and connect it. And now I've connected that into my mind map. So they have all of the same features that they have outside of Canvas, inside of Canvas, to start completing this activity. Now, when they're done, I'm just going to add a nice big sticky note. So it's very clear I did something in here. When they're done, you'll notice that they have a blue submit button in the upper right-hand corner. So now they can go ahead and submit, add any comments that they would like. I am done. And then submit. Now, when the professor goes in to SpeedGrader, they will see a freeze frame. So it does pull into SpeedGrader as a frozen PDF in that moment. So now the professor can use all of the tools they're used to inside a SpeedGrader to provide feedback. They can grade it. If you had a rubric, that would be right here, comments. And then let's say the student wanted to keep work. The teacher provided feedback, and now a student is going to work on it and resubmit because we're allowing for resubmissions. The student can continue working on their Lucid document. So we'll add just another obvious sticky note. And they can continue working inside of Canvas. It is all saving in real time, so they can work on it during multiple sessions. So once they've read the feedback and they want to resubmit, they just click resubmit when they're ready. Add additional comments. Thanks for your feedback, because our students are all nice and appreciate everything we do for them. And then we are going to come over to here, and I'm just going to refresh in SpeedGrader. And now you'll see up here, you can feather between the first submission, and you can see it frozen in time. And then I can go to the second submission, see that second submission, and I can continue providing feedback. So it'll kind of list each of those up here at the top. So any questions related to the process of creating a template, sending it out for students, and then having them turn it in and the professor grading it? Okay, perfect. So the next use case we're going to talk about is collaboration. So all of this was, we're making templates, we're pushing them out to students, they're getting their own copies. But now let's say we are going to be working on a discussion in class, and I want to kind of ground the discussion. I want to make it a little bit more enriching for everybody who's involved. And so I want to go onto a page and I want to provide a discussion board for responses. So you can put this on a page, you can put it on an assignment, you can put it on a discussion. The collaborative experience lives wherever the rich content editor is. So I put it on a page because a lot of times I'm not grading them for participating. I am providing a way to increase engagement, participation, enrich the learning experience, but I'm not actually going to grade it. However, if you did want to grade it, feel free to put it on an assignment, but keep in mind, you have to actually look at the collaborative document, see if they participated, and then give them the grade. It won't, the collaborative experience does not pull into SpeedGrader. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and open my page, and we're going to do a fun icebreaker discussion board to get ourselves started. I'm going to get you guys in here in just a second after I show you some tips. So now this is where you click on the black L from the rich content editor. So wherever the rich content editor lives, you will see the black L. And this is a shortcut, again, to your Lucid dashboard. So when we come in to our Lucid document, our Lucid dashboard, you could pick something you pre-created from your Lucid dashboard before you came into Canvas. But keep in mind, if I pick this, we're editing this specific document. So it's collaborative. If I pick something from my dashboard, we're changing this exact one. It's not templating like assignments does. So this one, though, I'm just going to show you how I do it on the fly. So I'm going to click a plus new button and come down to Lucid Spark and add a blank new board. Then I'll go ahead and name it. And create the board. Now, this is where you get those editing permissions. So you have edit, comment, or view. Obviously, edit, everybody sees everything, and we're collaborating. Comment and view are continuing down more and more restrictive access. So I'm going to go ahead and insert. Now, at this point, you could start editing the board in here, but it's not really great. So all you have to do is just, at this point, scroll down and save, and just wait to publish, or set the publish date for when you want it to go live if you forget to publish often. But as soon as this is published and live, students can get in there, they can start adding sticky notes, they can start collaborating. So now I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks for having successful collaborations for Lucid Spark. The first one is, just like in Lucid Chart, there is a full screen option in the bottom right-hand corner. Highly recommend that you and students use this. It doesn't take you out of Canvas, it just maximizes your editing space. And then to exit, you click it again or you hit escape, whatever works best for you. Your toolbar along the left-hand side has all your favorites. It has a text box option, sticky note options, a couple shapes, as you see here, way less than Lucid Chart, line options, organizational features, and then that handy dandy pen tool we talked about. So I'm going to just drag out a text box. And Tara, this might look familiar to her because this is my favorite. What is your favorite animal? So this leads us to tip 2. Make sure to lock anything you don't want students moving, changing, deleting, or messing with. You can do it one at a time, or when you're done making all your activities, you can highlight everything on the board and just hit the lock and lock at all of it. But just make sure you lock it, because we all have been in collaborative experiences where we're crying because everything is getting changed, especially during the pandemic, as we were all learning. So make sure to lock items, which leads us to our third tip, which is to help students navigate this board. You'll see that this is an infinite canvas. This can be overwhelming for both professors and students. So a way to make this easy is, once you have your item on the board, then you click on the second to bottom, the organizational pane, and at the top you have frames. So you'll click on a frame, and then you just click and drag around your content to create a space for students to respond. You can name the frame. So this is our icebreaker. Of course, don't forget to lock your frame. We don't want our frames going walking. And then there's 2 reasons we did this. One, visually, duh, I put my sticky note in here. That makes sense. But most importantly, when you add frames to the board, it automatically starts to build a table of contents in the bottom right-hand corner of their board. So if somebody is over in Never Never Land and is saying, I'm lost, I don't know where to go, they just click the table of contents, click on the icebreaker, and now it zooms them to where they need to be. So just so you can see that one more time, I'm going to click on the frame, click and drag to add a second frame, and you'll see it automatically popped into my table of contents. If I rename it, it'll pop right in here. So now they can just click activity 1, activity 2, and now they can easily navigate your activities on the board. I will put a frame around even if we're just doing one thing, because again, if somebody's over here, they can never say they're lost. They always have something to get them where they need to be. And then last, before we get in and start having some fun, the last step is in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see the 3 people. When you click on the 3 people, you'll notice that towards the bottom, there is Make Me a Facilitator. I always do this for collaborative activities before they get into the board. So like clockwork, before you publish in Canvas, make yourself a facilitator. This gives you an additional facilitator panel here, this guy with a podium. And I come over to controls and I toggle all of these on, and I just always do this. Now, students cannot access these features on the board. So they can't unlock the things you've locked. They can't unhide things you hide. So they can't randomly start the timer or a voting session. So you have extra control on these features. Now, hiding is if you click on a frame, you'll notice that there's an eyeball option and it hides everything underneath the frame. A great way to keep go-getters from being on the 5th slide before you've started the first, or if everybody's really focused on the icebreaker and you want to move them along, you can close it and then move on to the next activity. So that is my last tip, is in the upper right-hand corner, making yourself that facilitator before you publish in Canvas. You'll also notice there's a couple other things in here that you can look through. The two main ones are, when you guys get in here, you're going to notice people's cursors moving around. It's fine with our group because we only have 8 people. The bigger the group, the more chaotic and crazy it is seeing all these cursors moving around. So this is something you do need to show students. You show them the first time and then they can self-regulate, no big deal moving forward. They have to click on that same drop down and they'll toggle off show cursors, so then everybody else's cursors will disappear. And then the other one I like to mention in here is show authors. It only is a sticky note feature, but you'll notice when you drag out sticky notes, your name is in the bottom right-hand corner. If you want it to feel anonymous, you can click on the drop down and just toggle off show authors, and those names will disappear. It's not truly anonymous though, because all I need to do is toggle it back on and the names are there. So it's more, you don't want students to see each other's names, but you can still turn it back on after the activity if you want to see who added what sticky notes to the board. And if you hover over the name, really cool, in case anybody accidentally messes with anybody's sticky notes, it tells you right here who last modified. So it'll say made by Ashley, modified by Kara. And you're like, well, that means somebody messed with it. So that is a good call out in case somebody's like, something happened to my sticky note. So those are my main tips for a successful collaboration. Now we're going to hop in and hopefully have some fun for a little bit. Now, normally you could just publish in Canvas. Your students could go into Canvas, they open it up and they can just they go full screen and they can start collaborating right here in Canvas. You guys are not in my Canvas course. So I am going to come back into my Lucid dashboard and you'll notice anything you make in Canvas will also be outside of Canvas in your dashboard. And so you can also use Lucid outside the realm of Canvas if you would like. Just make sure that students have at least activated their account one time in Canvas so that they have the full editing access rights and full enterprise access. Then moving forward, you can link share just like you do with every other program outside of Canvas if that's a need. That's also a great way if you wanted to collaborate with your peers, your other instructors, you want to do some planning. You guys can make documents outside of Canvas, share them with each other, and you guys can be using it for planning, collaboration outside of the instructional world. But here I'm going to open up my Lucid document. So this is what I was making inside of Canvas. And to share outside of Canvas, I'm just going to click on the blue share button in the upper right-hand corner, toggle on to share the link. And then normally you can keep it within your domain because your students are probably using their emails for their institution. Because you guys may have not made your accounts yet or done anything, I'm going to click on anyone with the link. This is another way that you can share if you don't know if they've made accounts. One drawback, they won't come in with their names. So they'll come in like Anonymous Panda or something like that. So one drawback if you choose anyone with the link. Now, if you have students using mostly mobile devices, I recommend that they go to the Lucid Spark app. And then there is a enable join ID right up here. And then they could get into the board by using this join ID. This is really only necessary for mobile users because it allows them to go in through the app, which is a little bit better experience on a mobile device. Okay, but without further ado, let's have some fun. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this into the chat. Your job is to click on the link. It will bring you into the board. Click on the table of contents. Oh, I didn't hit send. That helps. Click on the table of contents, click on the icebreaker, and then from the left-hand side, drag a sticky note into the icebreaker section and write, what is your favorite animal? And then again, you'll see everybody's cursors. So this is a good time to practice clicking that arrow next to everybody's bubbles. And then you can toggle off show cursors. So now you won't see the cursors moving around the canvas. Now, another easy, quick feature, which is silly, but really impactful, are our emojis. So if you also like any of these others, you can click on it, you can click the emoji reaction, and you can add an emoji. This is especially really good when you want to start to see ideas gaining traction. So let's say we were in a medical class and we're saying, or homelessness in Salt Lake City, and I want them to drag sticky notes saying different ideas of ways we could help homelessness here in Salt Lake City. And then other people can be adding hearts to ones they agree with. So you'll start to see some of those ideas and strategies gaining traction. And then the emojis are really easy. So go ahead and practice. Click on a sticky note, click on the emoji from the toolbar that pops up, and then just pick any of your emojis. For example, we probably even have a penguin. So I'm going to add a penguin emoji to the penguin sticky. And then I'm seeing you do not have to add a text box on top of the sticky note. When you drag out a sticky note, all you have to do is just double click inside that sticky note and you can write inside of the sticky. It helps if you can spell sticky. And then I see Tara's on my sticky. Get out of there, Tara. Okay, now another feature that is fun. This is a feature that is only accessible outside of Canvas. One thing I will mention is you'll notice inside of Canvas, or not this one, less tools inside of Canvas. They did this on purpose to make it less distracting for students. However, if you did want to use the images or some of those additional features, you can click from within Canvas, open in a new tab. It will open that collaborative document in a new tab, and then you have that full set of tools. And whatever you do outside of Canvas will also reflect back inside of Canvas. Because you can see here, this is in Canvas, and I can see all of the things we were doing outside of Canvas. Okay, make sure, okay. So inside, since we're outside of Canvas, go ahead and click on the image icon from your toolbar. Click on images up at the top. Search your animal. And then drag one of the images that speaks to you onto the canvas. Use the white squares to resize it. And then drag it up to your sticky. And then you can practice lines. If you click on your sticky, and you click on the blue dot and click and hold and drag to your quail, well, my quail, and then you can attach your picture to your sticky. So go ahead and click on the image icon from the toolbar and go ahead and practice your lines to connect your sticky to your image.
A question for you while they're working.
Yes.
So what if we wanted to do this collaboration, right? It's just on a page, it's not necessarily an assignment, but we want to break our class up into groups. Is that possible?
Yes, and we're heading to that next. So
Okay.
excellent segue, Tara. Oh, look at the goats. You are getting a heart. And so you can see images, they just add, they're more fun for students, they're more fun for professors. It just enhances that engagement. And I also like how it can make things like we saw before, like mind maps, even more visual if we're adding images of some of those items rather than just text. Perfect. So thanks for playing along here. Now, let's say we wanted to take, since we're talking about groups, let's say now we were going to divide into groups and groups were going to research their animal. Oh, the red panda, so cute. Okay. They're going to research the animal that we were brainstorming. Like, so we'll say these are the ones that got the most likes. We liked them the most. Okay, perfect. So Sally, I'll make sure to get to your question as well. There is lots of training, so I will make sure you, and today is going to be information overload because I want to show you everything in an intro. And then I'll give you, we have an asynchronous course, we have snapshot videos, we have everything you'll need to kind of decompress with this after today. So now for group work, if you just kind of go back to where I'm sharing my screen, I'm going to show you how I set this up first. If you're still connecting, feel free to finish your connecting. But the breakout boards are how I would manage then breaking them up from one large group into smaller groups. I'll even do this, maybe we're using the exact same question, but I have like 100 people in my lecture. I don't want 100 people in one board. We can't fit 100 sticky notes. So you can also use breakout boards for group work or same question in each of the breakout boards, but maybe A through G is in breakout board 1, and you're breaking them up. So same question, but a better place for collaborating. I really only recommend 25 to 30, I think is the perfect amount collaborating in one space. I have done up to 50 and it still does work, but it is a bit crazy. So usually 25 to 30, I'll break them up using breakout boards if we have like 100 people. So the breakout boards are on your toolbar. So just watch mine on my share screen for a second. It has the 2 rectangles with the plus sign. When I click on this, I can add additional group spaces. So I'm just going to click on the blue new breakout board at the bottom. Now, I want each of you to research, each group to research their animal, but I'm looking for specific things from the group. So I might come in here and start a quick concept map. So name of animal. And then I might add a couple. I want you, like you saw me doing earlier, I'm going to say I want characteristics of the animal. I want the habitat of the animal. So you might lay out a couple things you definitely want to see from them. So we'll pretend that this is beautiful and it's all done for them once I can fix habitat. And so now I want each group to have this same starter. So what I'm going to do is I can click on my breakout boards again, click the 3 dots, and you can come down to duplicate multiple times. And we had, I think, 5 animals. So I'm going to divide them up into 5 groups and I can duplicate. And now there is a separate workspace for each one. So I could say, all right, foxes go into breakout 2, pandas, you're in 3, and they can go into their space. So now to practice this, so you can kind of feel what it's like for the students, I click on from your screen now, the breakout board icon, and then just pick one of the breakout board rooms. So go ahead into the board, click on breakout boards, and then you can click 1 through 6, whichever one floats your boat. So then you'll notice you are going into a separate whiteboard, still connected to the main space. One thing to keep in mind, everybody can see everything. So I could hop into other people's groups. So if you don't want students to see other people's work, if it's more of a summative, you wouldn't want to share it this way. This way is really great for breaking larger groups into smaller groups, really great for jigsaws if we're researching and studying different things. And other professors say they like just having everybody be able to see what everybody's doing because then it ups how good people do because they'll see, oh, group 3 is looking great. We need to step it up. So it also kind of pushes students as well. And then you'll also notice if you click on the breakout board icon from the instructor, I can see who is in what breakout board. I could click on the breakout board. I can go in, see what they're doing, drag stickies or right click and add comments to provide some feedback, hop into the next group's board. So you can kind of manage all of these different groups and collaborations from one main board. So Tara, does that kind of get at what you were looking for?
Yes, my last question on this part is, can you assign people or kind of make people go in certain groups?
You cannot forcibly push people into groups. So what some people will do is just on the front page, they'll drag out like a sticky and say group 1, and then they'll list the names. So they know like breakout 1 is these people, breakout 2, but that's really just the only like scaffolding way that you can do it. It's not like a Zoom breakout where I can push you in there. However, one thing you can do is as the teacher, if I click on breakout boards and I click on the facilitation button, if you click start breakout, all that does is just pull up the panel for them. So it kind of helps if they can't find the button to push, I can pull up the panel. And then once we're in there, I can do call participants back. So I can't forcibly push them in, but I can click call back and it makes you all come back to the main board inside of Lucid. So you can't push in, but you do have a little bit you can do. Okay, any other questions related to group work? Okay, now there's 2 more things I want to show since we're very close to time. The first one is secret. I like to lovingly call him Secret Agent Man. In the upper right-hand corner, it is the icon with the hat and glasses. So when I turn on what Secret Agent Man, otherwise known as private mode, I usually toggle both of these off, and you can read through them and determine if you want them on or off. When I start for collaborators, when they drag their sticky notes onto the canvas, you won't actually see the content of what other people are doing. So if anybody can go back into the board and then click on the table of contents, click on activity 2, and it'll take you to the second activity. It only works for sticky notes. Drag a sticky note onto the canvas, and then you can just say something very secretive in your note. You'll notice you can see other sticky notes popping onto the canvas, but you can't see their content. So it's a good way to have an initial unbiased or uninfluenced brainstorm. It's also a good way, some teachers will do it at the end as an exit ticket. So they'll ask a question, they'll turn on private mode, and they just won't turn it off until the students are gone. So I can just see the sticky note. Now when I hit end for all and reveal, now I can see everything that's on the board. Keep in mind, private mode is private for the instructor too. So the instructor can't see what students are doing. Students can't see what other students are doing. Everybody can only see what they're doing during private mode. Okay, and last but not least, because I don't want to overwhelm you, although I know I've, done a little overwhelming, so I will give you lots of resources to help. The last thing are what I was talking about at the beginning with the visual activities. Visual activities are very different. I tend to use them in Lucid Spark. They are the rocket ship from the toolbar. And you have a bunch of, generic main ones you can use, or we have some categories. So we have an education category. And I know we all love a good Likert scale. I feel like we all can relate to that. So I'm going to drag out a Likert scale, but there's lots of different ways you can use these. So let's say you just want to do a poll or something. So this will be a poll example, but these could be instructions of what I want them to do. Then I could write, Summer is the best. Fall is better than winter. And then if I only want 2 questions, so I'm just going to highlight this and delete it. So everything's customizable. I could even change if I wanted these to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could change what's inside of these. I could delete one of these because maybe I just want 3 categories and I can resize it. So everything's customizable. You can even drag, like let's say we put a cat in here. You can drag one of these into the canvas. So you can add shapes, you can add additional sticky notes, you can have at it. So we'll just have this fun cat at the bottom. And the moral of the story, these are drag and drop like you experienced at the beginning. If it's a green hand, it's draggable. And if it's a gray hand, it's not. So now I'm going to save the changes. You are in this board, so I am going to lock it to make sure you can't edit my activity. In the beginning, when you just went to the one activity, I used this share button to get you in here, but you guys are in this board with me. So what you could do is another teacher facilitation tool with the podium guide is I can take the lead. So if you're in the collab board, when I click take the lead, it's going to forcibly pull you to my view on the board. So that's another quick redirect. Since I didn't have a frame around this and I wasn't sure if you'd find it, I could take the lead here at any point. So then you can hit the start button. Everybody goes into their own version of this activity. They are dragging this around. Ooh, I don't know how I feel. I think I'm going to disagree. And then fall is better than winter. Oh, strongly agree. Okay. And then you submit your responses. And just like you saw at the beginning, it will average these results for you. It'll start these red as people submit. The red thing will move along the continuum. Perfect. Thank you, Tara. So now you saw it move in real time. So as they come in, it will change the data and continue averaging those results for you. Okay, so now 2 minutes. Questions, comments, concerns before I show you resources.
We do have a question in the chat
Perfect.
asking, can you demo how to navigate the boards and kind of move around?
Perfect. Excellent question. I always forget it. So if you're on a trackpad, super easy. You just use 2 fingers, left, right, up, down to move around, and you pinch to zoom. So trackpad, pretty easy. Mouse, also easy. You just have to know what to do. On a mouse, you can use your scroll wheel to zoom. Some people have their mice a little different, so you can hold down shift and then try that too. And depending on how your mouse is set up on your device, that should help. And then the biggest issue, because zooming, you can also zoom in the bottom. The biggest issue people have is moving left, right, and up and down with the mouse. All you have to do is right click, hold, and then drag. Right click, hold, drag, and that allows you to kind of move up, down, left, and right if you're on a mouse. So did that help, Nancy, with that? Perfect. I'll take the silence as we've got this. And then in our resources, it also shows you that. When we go in, so the main one-stop shop for all things Lucid, and you may have already stumbled upon this before, Tara might have sent it out, but this is your main one-stop shop to find all things related to Lucid. Yes, and Nancy, the mini map is also a great thing to navigate as well. So this is a good one. I would recommend bookmarking this. Anytime we come out with something new, we add a new tile in here. So like this literally has everything you'll ever need. The professor interviews, the community, and the blog. Those are all for inspiration. So you want to see how other professors are using it in their different disciplines. These are great places to go. Then going into the Canvas support resources, You'll notice we have student resources. So this is great to add to that announcement you send out to students. It has a how to get their license video. It has an intro to Lucid Spark, an intro to Lucid Chart, and it goes into the basics. And then same thing in the instructor section, how-to guides, videos, and then Sally, this was the big one I was going to mention. There's an asynchronous Canvas course right here in the middle. And I'll add this link as well. This, if you click on modules, it will lay out all of the different items that you have. So it has an intro, it has stuff about Lucid Spark, Lucid Chart, visual activities if you want to learn more about that, how to put it into Canvas, inspiration. So it has everything. So don't get overwhelmed. It is a lot, but you can, it's not locked or anything. So you can just kind of click through whatever you need.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So with that, any questions, comments, concerns before we say adieu? Okay, perfect. So hopefully we all aren't too overwhelmed, but hopefully we have an idea of different ways that we can use this in your courses. And now the best part is just to dig in, try it out, and kind of play with it for a little bit. Also, here's my email. My job is to help, so feel free to reach out anytime. Lucidchart.com, and I am happy we can hop on a call. We can I can send you videos, so reach out anytime if you have any questions or get stuck. Okay, gonna stop sharing, and thank you everyone for coming. And it's almost the weekend, so everybody get excited.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Vanessa.
Of course,
Thank you.
anytime.
Thank
See
you.
you.
That was so helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yep, see ya.